Hebrews. This is Prophets of Awakening. This is our evening Shabbat class, closing out the Shabbat, 2nd of March, 2024. We're going to pick up where we left off on Wednesday with our book of Isaiah. We'll read some chapters out of that. Close out the Shabbat. Go to our YouTube channel, The Prophets of Awakening. We have over 900 or so videos that you can check out and examine. And if you like what you're hearing and receiving, I'm asking you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Okay. Our hours of operation have changed from 8 to 10 Central Time to 7 to 9 Central Time on Mondays through Fridays. And we have our men's advanced Bible study on Friday nights on the clubhouse, non-Messianic room. Okay, and we have our Shabbat classes, 2 on Saturday on Shabbat, 1 in the morning at 10 to 12 a.m. Central Time. Then we close out the Shabbat from 6 to 7 Central Time. Okay, so with that being said, I want to show you shalom and welcome everybody to this channel. It's a non-Messianic channel, and we deal with the Tanakh and the Torah. Tanakh being the Old Testament, so-called Book of Remembrance, and the Torah is the first 5 books that was given to Moses by our Redeemer. Okay, welcome to our evening Shabbat class. We're going to do our normal, which is a moment of silence. We're going to read, do our Sabbath prayer, read the Psalms, do some current events. We'll do some, deal with a little need-to-know information, and open it up for some questions and comments. And then we'll start reading out of the book of Isaiah, picking up where we left off on Wednesday with our reading through the Tanakh. Okay, so this moment of silence is for the Lord of hosts and all that he's doing to bring about our prophesied deliverance in these last days. Okay. Oh Lord, we come this day, bow down, honoring you, praising you, and believing in you. And we thank you for your wisdom and your knowledge that you have poured out upon us. And through your prophets, you have revealed of the times that we at Jacob trouble or would endure all this tribulation. Keep us, O Lord, guide us and deliver us. We see you now within the Holy Scriptures, O Lord, and we trust you with all our heart and all our soul. Keep not that silence any longer, but allow ourselves to shine forth on our enemies in these last days with our great power and our great glory. Peace be unto you. Okay. So with that being said, we'll read the Psalms. Okay. Okay. I'll read Psalm 107. It's the wonderful works of the children of men. Okay. Oh, give thanks unto the Lord, for he is good, for his mercy endureth forever. Let the redeemed of the Lord say so, whom he hath redeemed from the hands of the enemy, and gathered them out of the land from the east, and from the west, and from the north, and from the south. They wandered in the wilderness in a solitary way, and they found no city to dwell in. Hungry and thirsty, their soul fainted in them. Then they cried unto the Lord in their trouble, and he delivered them out of their distresses, and he led them forth by the right way, that they might go to a city of habitation. Oh, that men would praise the Lord for his goodness and for his wonderful works to the children of men. For he satisfied the longing soul, and he filled the hungry soul with goodness. such as sit in darkness and in the shadow of death, being bound in the affliction of iron, because they are rebelled against the words of God and tempted the counsel of the Most High. Therefore, he brought them down. He brought down their hearts with labor. They fell down, and there was none to help. Then they cried unto the Lord in their trouble, and he saved them out of their distresses. He brought them out of darkness and the shadow of death, and break their bands asunder. Oh, that men would praise the Lord for his goodness and for his wonderful works to the children of men. For he hath broken the gates of brass, cut the bars of iron in asunder. Fools, because of their transgressions and because of their iniquity, are their soul abhorreth all manner of meat, and they draw near unto the gates of death. Okay, being they cried unto the Lord in their trouble, and he saved them out of their distresses. He sent his word and healed them, and he delivered them from their destructions. Okay, oh, that men would praise the Lord for his goodness and for his wonderful works to the children of men, and let them sacrifice the sacrifice of thanksgiving and declare his works with rejoicing. They that go down to the sea in ships, that do business in great waters, these are the works of the Lord, and his wonders in the deep. For he commanded and raised the stormy wind, which lifteth up the wave thereof. They mount up to the heavens, they go down again to the depths. Their soul is meaty because of trouble. They reel to and fro, and stagger like a drunken man, and are at their wits' end. Then they cried unto the Lord in their trouble, and he bringeth them out of their distresses. He maketh the storm a calm, so that the waves thereof are still. Then are they glad because they be quiet. So he bringeth them into their desired haven. Oh, that men would praise the Lord for his goodness and for his wonderful works to the children of men. Let them exalt him also in the congregation of the people, and praise him in the assembly of the elders. He turneth rivers into wilderness, and the water springs into a dry ground, a fruitly land into barrenness, for the wickedness of them that dwell therein. He turneth the wilderness into a standing water, and dry ground into water springs, and there he maketh the hungry to dwell, that they may prepare a city for habitation, and sow the fields, and plant vineyards, which may yield fruit of increase. He blesses them also, so that they are multiplied greatly, and suffer not as cattle to decrease. Again, they are diminished and brought low through oppression and affliction and sorrow. He poureth contempt upon princes, and causes them to wander in the wilderness, where there be no way. Yet setteth he the poor on high from affliction, and maketh him families like a flock. The righteous shall see it and rejoice, and all iniquity shall stop her mouth. Whoso is wise and will observe these things, even they shall understand the long suffering of the Lord. Okay, so that was Psalms 107. Anybody got any comments? Okay, so when you read this, the title is that God's wonderful works to the children of men. So through the process of this Psalms, we see how and we was talking about this the other day, how over and over again his people he would come and do miracles and wonders in their sight, delivering them, and they turn on him, and they go back into captivity. He comes back and delivers them. So the message I got out of that is where we are right now. We over here for a reason, and it's because of our forefathers did the same thing they did right here. They turned against him, disrespected him, disobeyed him, and they ended up in affliction. So he says in 41, even though we've done that over and over again, it says, yet setteth he up the poor on high from affliction. So the affliction got to come first. After the affliction, he bring us out, and he maketh him families like a flock. The righteous shall see this, right? That's where we are now. The righteous shall see it and rejoice, and iniquity shall stop her mouth. Whoso is wise and will observe these things, even they shall understand the loving kindness of the Lord. And I'll add to that, the long suffering is a process. So you're not going to be overwhelmed and rejoice like David did, but that's not his clothes unless you was first afflicted. He was in the presence of the Lord at one time, got afflicted, and then he came and got you. So that's, it's no rejoicing like that rejoicing. Okay? So with that being said, we'll go to some current events. Okay.
China, as one of the founding members of BRICS, is now leading the way in several crucial areas, moving ahead of the United States. This video breaks down where and how China has gained the upper hand, from cutting-edge scientific studies to the booming trade of goods like high-tech batteries and electric vehicles. We'll look at the numbers, the growth, and what this shift means for the global balance of power. Stay tuned to see how these two giants stack up in today's fast-changing world.
Okay.
Before we proceed, we encourage you to consider liking the video to show your support for our channel. Additionally, we invite you to share your thoughts in the comments section below. Your feedback is invaluable and will help us reach a wider audience. Thank you for your support. In the realm of scientific research output, China has surpassed the US in producing the highest impact scientific research, particularly in the top 1% of scientific studies in 2019. This is a notable shift from the previous year, when the US led slightly. China's rise in scientific research is significant, as it indicates the country's growing capability to contribute to and shape global scientific discourse and technological advancements. However, it's important to note that a greater output in publications and citations doesn't necessarily equate to higher quality science across the board. The United States still maintains a strong position in field normalized, impactful research, indicating the quality and influence of its scientific output. In technology, China has demonstrated a stunning lead over the US in research across 37 out of 44 critical and emerging technologies, including defense, space, energy, and biotechnology sectors. This lead is particularly pronounced in defense and space-related technologies, which could have significant implications for nations around the world. China has also made a strong mark in the clean energy sector, outpacing the European Union in research related to clean energy technologies. This includes advancements in areas such as solar and wind power, as well as lithium battery, heat pump, and carbon capture technologies. Lastly, in terms of economic size, while the United States remains the world's largest economy when measured by market exchange rates, China's economy has grown rapidly over the past decades. By purchasing power parity, a metric considered by the CIA and the IMF to be the best for comparing national economies, China has already overtaken the US as the world's largest economy. China is now the primary engine of global economic growth and has become the most essential link in the world's critical global supply chains, positioning itself as a formidable economic power on the global stage. The US economy is expected to see a deceleration in real GDP growth, with estimates ranging from 0.7% to 2.1%. This slowdown is attributed to the effects of monetary policy and diminishing post-pandemic growth drivers. Consumer spending growth is also anticipated to slow, affected by reduced excess savings and plateauing wage gains. On the other hand, China's GDP growth is forecasted by the IMF to reach 4.6%, indicating a cautious outlook due to persistent uncertainties, especially in the property market. This represents a slowdown from the previous year's higher than expected 5.2% growth, with a set target around 5% for 2024. The U.S. Federal Reserve's policy rate is in the 5.25%, 5.50% range, with potential rate cuts anticipated in mid-2024 if inflation trends downward. This indicates a move towards a more supportive monetary environment. In contrast to the U.S., China's central bank policies are likely to continue focusing on supporting economic growth amid high uncertainty, with a particular emphasis on addressing the property market slump and boosting domestic demand. The U.S. labor market shows resilience, with unemployment rates expected to stay between 3.4% and 4%. Challenges include an aging population and slow labor force growth, but productivity improvements could bolster GDP growth. However, China faces demographic challenges, including a record low birth rate and an aging population, which could impact the labor force and manufacturing sector. Efforts to boost productivity and focus on education and technology are key to addressing these issues. In the U.S., high interest rates pose risks to capital spending and small businesses, with potential drags on growth from strong dollar and global economic conditions. However, investment in AI and semiconductor manufacturing presents opportunities. But in China, the economy is grappling with the downturn in the real estate market, geopolitical tensions, and the need for structural reforms.
Okay, any comments on that? Okay.
With the shooting and killing of a 2-year-old child. In Virginia, a Venezuelan migrant charged with sexually assaulting a 14-year-old girl. In Louisiana, a Honduran migrant was arrested for allegedly raping a 14-year-old and stabbing a man during a robbery. Americans are taking notice, and today there was a stunning moment in Athens, Georgia, where Laken Riley was murdered. Now the town's Democratic mayor is getting shouted down by residents who are furious over the sanctuary city policy there. Watch it. So some Democrats and the media trying to portray the horrific murder of young Laken Riley by an illegal immigrant as just one instance that Republicans are seizing on. But it's not true. There are many terrifying cases that are adding up across the country. In Maryland, a 25-year-old illegal Salvadoran migrant was arrested in connection with the shooting and killing of a 2-year-old child. In Virginia, a Venezuelan migrant charged with sexually assaulting a 14-year-old girl. In Louisiana, a Honduran migrant was arrested for allegedly raping a 14-year-old and stabbing a man during a robbery. Americans are taking notice, and today there was a stunning moment in Athens, Georgia, where Laken Riley was murdered. Now the town's Democratic mayor is getting shouted down by residents who are furious over the sanctuary city policy there. Watch this.
Who voted to make Athens, Clark County a sanctuary city, sir? Who? What's their name? You're a liar.
You're here to listen.
Liar. You're
Time
a
for
liar.
questions.
You are guilty and got blood on your head. You need to go, sir. We don't want to hear from you no more. You're not defending us. You're not upholding your oath of office, sir. You are lawless.
Wi-Fi radiation causes cancer on your cell phone. I mean, there's cell phone tumors. You know that.
Come on.
Noon evening to you. Well, we initially were brought here for the mayor to lay out his initiatives regarding safety moving forward, but those protesters who were in the back of the room were calling out, at times couldn't even let the mayor speak, as they believe that Athens was listed as a sanctuary city. The mayor says that's simply not the case.
That adopts a sanctuary law posture, we will deny you federal funds for law enforcement and other things if you don't do this. If they feel that strong, because I feel strongly about it. I mean, I'm passionate about it. I think this issue, the stories that I hear here in New York City from friends, both parties not really the issue at all. The fist fights and the knife fights. I had a friend that told me about a knife fight as she was going to work on the subway yesterday, early in the morning, between two people whom she believed were migrants. No one should be subjected to that. So I think that the idea of yelling is great, but we have an opportunity to bring about some answers here. The White House could sign a reinstatement of some of the Trump border policies that were executive orders, And the Congress should pass laws that give more money to hire more cops, law enforcement, and change the asylum process at the border. We do that, we'll get closer to not allowing more of these awful human beings into our country.
Janine, Harold's acknowledging what's happening in cities. President Biden came out today and did not acknowledge it. He was in the room with a whole group of police chiefs from around the country and talked about how much better things are now. That the homicide rates are down. Didn't mention Lake and Riley.
Gaslights us again.
The city status. City leaders face heavy criticism of a perceived sanctuary city status after City Commission passed a resolution in 2019 welcoming immigrants of both statuses. Mayor Gertz says the resolution was put in place during the Trump presidency after rhetoric, he says, was harmful. Fox 5 has learned Navarro was arrested for shoplifting this past October, but was released. The police chief says their system.
He needs to start enforcing federal law, working with law enforcement so that people that are in this country illegally are deported. This crime could have been avoided if this individual was never here to begin with.
Right. And Chris, until Madison's report just 90 seconds ago, I did not realize that Athens, Georgia, is a sanctuary city. It's obviously a college town, and it will be interesting to hear what the mayor has to say at his press conference later today. But ultimately, also during the commercial, we were talking about how this guy,
15% and 20% of what people are getting now. And we don't want that. We don't want that. In some ways, it's good for an employer, but it's really bad for our people, and it's very unfair for our people. And we don't want that. We want people to come into our country, but we want them to come in legally through a process. And it is true, a lot of unions are looking and they're saying, what are we going to do? Because, you're driving a truck and they do a great job, but you're driving a truck and somebody comes along and he's willing to do it for a tiny fraction of the cost. And those people are out of jobs. The unions are going to be in big trouble. And Biden's the one that's allowing them in. He gave 2.5 million work permits this year to people that are illegal immigrants, 2.5 million work permits. And those are people. And the bigger problem is, and at Georgia, the University of Georgia, they had a horrible killing.
Zero. This comes after the death of Augusta University nursing student Laken Riley, killed on the UGA campus last week, allegedly by Jose Ibarra, confirmed to be in the country illegally.
That's exactly right. Look, the immigration system's broken, and we got to stop talking about it. We got to start doing things. The president of the United States needs to start doing the things he can to shore up the assets on that border. We have to end catch and release. We sued a number of Republican AGs, and I sued to maintain the remain in Mexico policy, and instead they instituted catch and release. Mm-hmm. Congress has got to come back together. I know that the bill was not what we needed to have, but that's fine. We got to get back to work. I was a chief of staff for a U.S. senator.
I don't know how this makes anybody feel better about what happened to Laken Riley. And shortly after that, you heard people basically lose their minds.
Because the country's sick and tired of being lied to. They tell us there's no inflation, there's no crime wave, they say there's no evidence Biden's corrupt. They're sick of it, and they're just going to start yelling at politicians. It's the only way you can get their attention. One of the reasons he can state that there's no correlation between illegal immigration and crime is because all of the cities in the country are sanctuary cities, so they don't report any of the illegal alien crime to the FBI. So at the end of the year, they don't have the statistics. Not only that, most of the time they label all of these illegal aliens as white. So it still doesn't show up in any of the data. This guy's a liar. 2 years ago, he was on TV talking about ICE is bad. And Trump is demonizing aliens because of his comments at Charlottesville, and we're going to protect the illegal immigrant population of this town. I looked up his little law on sanctuary cities. It's riddled with loopholes. This is a sanctuary city county. They popped the guy for shoplifting, didn't tell ICE. Same with New York. Popped him for illegal endangerment of a child, didn't tell ICE. Again, they caught him, released him at the border, Georgia and New York.
Okay. Any comments on that? Anybody heard anything about that?
Shalom, everyone. Yes, I heard about that, and it's just really a disgrace.
Okay.
are invading and killing and raping 14-year-old girls, 15-year-old girls being raped, and nothing is happening to these people.
Oh yeah, like I say, those are all signs. You know, they got evidently they got their eyes on something else because they don't care about all that. They got a bigger prize they're looking at.
Shalom. When he mentioned that a lot of things are happening and they base it as white people, that it doesn't show up in the crime statistics, and he seemed that he was upset about that. So when they group them as white, then we understand that those crimes that is happening by white people doesn't get exploited as much as they do with the other um, groups of people, the other melanated people. So it seemed like he was upset. He wanted them to um, separate that because of their melanated, their skin color. So he's
Right,
saying they're mostly, say, white, being that their skin is the same as theirs, but their background is different.
right. There's some. Anybody else have any comments on that? Okay, let me play this right here. Somebody got something?
Oh, just wanted to say, it just points out that the crime that happens that does not get exploited by the um, whites is very low key. And so there could be more happening, but being that he pointed that out, it's letting you know that they will exploit the black crime faster and more than they would the white. And now and it's coming to light that it is different.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, we got some need to know information right here. I'm gonna play it and then get us some feedback.
The disrespect from the American women, when it comes to the passport bros, you might ask, like, where did this start? Why is this going on? They say that they're dusty. They say they're losers. They're not worth keeping. So why are they speaking out about it? Well, it's because they're projecting. They are upset because they don't feel desired. Men are not approaching women or playing games with women like they used to. They've taken the red pill, they've woken up. And quite honestly, if I was a guy or if I had a son, I would advise him to go overseas.
Hello, welcome to Reactions and Reviews. Your humble host is thank you, and I hope you enjoy the show.
I recently met 2 African women off in an app, and something strange was up with these African women. I noticed something devastating that I haven't seen in the US of A. I noticed that these women, they had curvaceous bodies. They were very beautiful. They wore their natural hair. Eyelashes were non-existent. I even talked to one, and she said she didn't wear makeup. I said, ooh, she has done one of the modern sins of America. I gotta tell her to put some hair extensions on, some eyelashes, some weave, and start selling up. You know this girl had? She's educated, and she was submissive. I was like, ooh, whoa.
Asper Bro was brothers that was tired of paying high-ass car note, paying high-ass rent in apartments. These brothers were tired. America is so expensive food. These brothers said, you know what, I'm gonna leave America. I'm gonna move to a cheaper country where my lifestyle can be comfortable. They moved over there, cheaper rent, cheaper car note, cheaper food, cheaper everything. Brothers was enjoying themselves. And they noticed women overseas were nice to them. Women overseas are traditional. Women overseas know their lane. So brothers started rejoicing, started making videos, telling other brothers, yo, leave America. Life is better overseas. You can get a better house, you can get a big ass penthouse and pay $1,000 a month or $1,200 a month. You can eat well, you can do this well, you can enjoy your life, and the women will treat you right. That's what the brothers were saying. Go back and look at all those old Passport Bro videos. They never once said anything about black women. Never. Oh.
Okay, any comments so far?
Shalom. He have a point about those lashes and all that other false fake stuff going
Okay.
on. That's a real, to me,
Oh,
this
they
is
do.
my personal opinion about it, because I don't wear none of that stuff. And it just amazed, nowadays it just amazed some men that women don't wear it, because that's what they do.
Exactly. Right, yeah.
Shalom.
Okay.
Yes, and also that they are mentioning for the men to go overseas to have a better life, eat better foods, and get a better job, or just a better life. But this time, right now, I don't think it is time for them to go over there because of the wars and things that they're having. Just like I didn't read the full article on it when the lady went over there from the U.S. and she was missing and wind up being um, unalive. This time and right now, they're not liking the West. So anyone coming from the West to Africa and any parts of it, they might be unalived or treated really bad. Now, I don't know, they went over there in the time of peace or when there was no war going on or not having the West being an enemy of them. Uh, how old the video was, I don't know. But right now, it was mentioned that going overseas now is not as good for the West because of the controversy that's going on, trying to recolonize the Africans over there. How the United States is trying to take over again, or putting their input on how they live their lives.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else got anything on that? Let some more play. Let a little bit more play.
Tell brothers, yo, move over here. Life is better. If you're making 40K, 50K in America, overseas, it'll be like you're making 150. So move over here. And the women are nice. You see? That was it. Black women took it upon themselves that those brothers was talking about them, which they were not. See? That's how all this got started.
All these women saying they can get their passports too, I don't think they realize how crazy foreign men are. Like, you will get your head popped off if you come at your husband sideways. So if you're asking, like, can you get rammed through? Sure, that's easy. The shit you do here in the States and how horribly you treat men, that won't fly overseas. So good luck with that.
The reason why that lady on the clip is saying what she's saying, which I agree with 100%. You're going to get your head popped off, the head poppers, okay? These men going to be number one head poppers around here dealing with you, okay? This is why the vast majority of Black women cannot compete with the passport bros, and it's stupid to even say so because nobody actually is checking for, coming for, looking for, trying to marry, trying to scoop up Black women in mass to be their wives and to integrate them into their culture and in their community. And one of the main reasons why that is so is because the world has actually seen what Black women are about via social media.
After listening and watching a lot of videos, I've come to realize that these men are very innocent. Some are good. They are wonderful people, and all they want is care and love. So why is it so hard for you to do that? And why do you keep making these hateful videos if you don't want them? We want them. They are good people. They are wonderful people. So what is wrong with that? If you cannot cook, if you cannot clean as a woman, actually, how do you take care of your hygiene? How do you clean that wig? How do you clean those nails? I don't understand you ladies. Oh, they are going overseas for women that are more beautiful. Honestly, what you're doing to yourself, you're humiliating yourself. You are. There's no way you can insult your fellow women just because we are submissive. Do you even read your Bibles? A woman was meant to be submissive. And leadership, it's for men. Just because you're making money doesn't make you a man. And if you feel like you're a man, please get your girlfriend pregnant and please let us know. From there, we will respect you. That's all I can say. Please let us be. Let the passport pros be.
If you made it this far, hit that like button and leave a comment to trigger YouTube's algorithm. I'm a new channel and I'm trying to grow. So hit that subscribe button and hit that bell to let you know every time I upload a new video.
Those who are living in the house they paid off.
Any comments? Okay, no comments. Everybody good?
Africa, major.
Okay. You go to. I'll open it up for some Q&A. Anybody have any questions or comments about anything that we talked about this morning on Clubhouse last night during the week? Something they came across they want to talk about it? Okay. Play this right here. Then we'll start reading out of pick up out of Isaiah.
Will Michelle Obama run for the 2024 US election? Could she replace President Joe Biden as the Democratic nominee? Well, the word has been going around for a while now. Western media reports have been buzzing with speculation. Democrats themselves have been plotting a shuffle. Have a look at this survey report. It was published on Monday. It says almost half of the Democrats, 47% to be precise, want to replace Biden with another candidate for the polls. A good 47%. Should Biden be worried? Well, it seems like it. Democratic leaders are publicly rallying behind Biden. Behind the scenes, they are still mulling who could be the best replacement. They need someone who could win a standoff against former President Donald Trump, after all. According to former White House and Pentagon official Douglas McKinnon, if not Vice President Kamala Harris, Democrats could look to a past superstar, and Michelle Obama stands a good chance. Among other options, Obama received 20% support from the Democrats. She beat other candidates, including Vice President Kamala Harris and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. Could the former First Lady snatch Biden's ticket? Even the Republicans have floated a similar theory, in fact. Vivek Ramaswamy has doubled down that Democrats will swap out President Biden with Michelle Obama. Trump advisor Roger Stone has predicted the same. In fact, this is what he posted on the platform X. Let me read it out for you. I continue to predict, as I have for well over 2 years, that Michelle Obama will be the Democrat Party nominee for president in 2024. And by the way, to back up his claims, he posted a snippet from a podcast interview. In this clip, Michelle said, and I'm quoting, "I am terrified about what could possibly happen because our leaders matter, who we select, who speaks for us, who holds that bully pulpit."
It affects us in ways that I think sometimes people take for granted. You see, Michelle said that she is terrified. Yes, that's the word she used. Terrified of who would be the next president. It goes without saying that she was alluding to Donald Trump. But was it just a casual remark, or was it strategically driven? Why was Michelle on this podcast to begin with? What was her agenda? She didn't have any book to promote, neither any other event or cause. She mostly spoke about her relationships and married life, but she also squeezed in these political remarks. Why? If we are to go by what political analysts are saying, it wasn't a casual comment made in passing. It was very much deliberate. Was Michelle testing the waters? Was it a message to Democratic leaders? A New York Post report goes so far as to claim that Michelle met several big hedge CEOs in New York. It was the summer of 2022, and the former First Lady reportedly said, "I am running, and I am asking for your support," quote unquote. Now, let's just assume for a minute that Michelle does plan to throw her hat in the ring. What then? Could she survive a standoff with the former President Donald Trump? Consider what happened with the Clintons. In the year 2016, less than 2 weeks before Election Day, Hillary Clinton held a clear lead in the polls. State polls showed Clinton was ahead in the key battlegrounds. Even the data team doing the analytics for the Trump campaign reported that they had just a 15% chance of winning. But then we all know what happened next. Clinton's personal email server scandal boiled over. Her announcement to campaign in Arizona did not help her cause either. After all, Arizona had only voted for a Democrat for president once since 1948. And that was only for her husband, Bill Clinton. Hillary lost to Trump regardless, despite her lead, despite her popularity. Could Obama suffer the same fate at the hands of Donald Trump if Michelle decides to contest? It does seem to be Donald Trump's year. We are now available in your country. Download.
Okay, any comments? Anybody heard anything about that? And what you think about it?
Yeah, I haven't heard it, but I don't put it past them because that the government always have loopholes. You know, as soon as one president go out, you'll see them at a ball game together and all kind of other events and stuff like that. So I think it's some kind of ploy they setting up.
Right. Is that something? Yeah, I noticed. Anybody else?
Uh, yes. They mentioned for President Ford said there would probably be a vice president, woman as a vice president. Well, there will never be a woman president. And just like they said at the last minute, far as Hillary in the lead, and then she gets put down. And Michelle said that she was never going to do it. And now they're saying that she says she's going to run. And if she runs, then, and Trump runs, again, he will be the president just like they did Hillary.
Right. So we know what that means. It means that what you call it did such a wonderful job with everything they wanted him to do, Obama. So it's all it's going to be is a third term, third or fourth term for him. And then I remember him always making those little sly remarks about he's coming back, and everybody was assuming that they was going to do some kind of change to the regulations and allow people to run more than twice. But it's this. They're going to backdoor it by having Michelle run. But we know who's going to be calling the shots. That's the way I see it. Okay.
Shalom. Yeah, it's like President Roosevelt when he was no longer physically able to run the country, and his wife Eleanor Roosevelt, she was doing all the bidding. She was behind it, and they were thinking that he was the one up until the time that he could no longer, he was incapacitated to where he wasn't able to do anything. And they know that he could not say anything or anything, so she had to stop. But she was behind the scenes running the country through behind his name.
Right,
So he could
exactly.
be doing the same thing for as far as Michelle Obama being announced as president, first woman black president or first woman president, but basically it's all of his maneuvering and negotiations behind the scene, if that's how it's going to go.
Exactly. And that's another reason why they didn't want Clinton in there. They didn't want Hillary Clinton in there because of Bill Clinton. They know he's the one making all the major decisions behind the scenes. And nobody wanted to deal with him no more. Right. That's right. They manipulated the votes at the end to make it look like it's some kind of comeback, but yeah, they manipulated the votes. They got capabilities to do that. Okay. So with that being said, we'll go into our like I said, we'll read a couple of chapters out of the book of Isaiah to pick up where we left off at. I think we read 4 chapters Wednesday night. We're on chapter 5, I believe. Somebody wanted to read chapter 5? Let me see if that's where we at. Okay, chapter 5. Okay.
Yes, sir. Isaiah chapter 5. Now will I sing to my well-beloved a song of my beloved touching his vineyard. My well-beloved hath a vineyard in a very fruitful hill, and he fenced it and gathered out the stones thereof and planted it with the choicest vines and built a tower in the midst of it and also made a winepress therein. And he looked that it should bring forth grapes, and it brought forth wild grapes. And now, O inhabitants of Jerusalem and men of Judea, judge, I pray you, betwixt me and my vineyard. Verse 4, what could have been done more to my vineyard that I have not done in it? Wherefore, when I looked that it should bring forth grapes, brought it forth wild grapes. And now go to, I will tell you what I will do to my vineyard. I will take away the hedge thereof, and it shall be eaten up, and break down the wall thereof, and it shall be trodden down. Verse 6, and I will lay it waste, it shall not be pruned nor digged, but there shall come up briars and thorns. I will also command the clouds that they rain no rain upon it. For the vineyard of the Lord of hosts is the house of Israel, and the men of Judah his pleasant plant. And he looked for judgment, but behold oppression, for righteousness, but behold a cry. Isaiah 5, 1 through 7. This is a parable, and it to me is saying that the Lord of hosts made something of Jerusalem and Judea, and the people, when he planted good, they and the plants is the people, and he brought forth the good, but then it went wild. So it mingled in, that Esau spirit came in there and mingled in and got the people wild. And so he's saying that he's going to break all this up and there'll be no more of that. And that's what I'm taking from that.
Right. If you go back, you know that they got different names for Israel. One of them is vineyard, another one is the fig tree, and the men of Israel is presumed to be figs. But the main one is Israel is a vineyard that the Lord planted, and the grapes are the men of Judah. So we see that in Obadiah, right quick. With Obadiah, and it says, verse 5, if thieves came to thee, robbers by night, how art thou cut off? Would they not have stolen till they had enough? If grape gatherers, being that the men of Israel is the grapes, if grape gatherers came unto thee, would they not have left some grapes? How are the things of Esau sought out? How are the hidden things sought up? So right there in that little story right there, he's telling you that Esau came because of his hatred, and he removed all the grapes. He didn't want none to be there because he wanted the land. So when that opportunity, when Antiochus came and the opportunity presented itself, they killed the remnant. It tells you that in verse 14. It says, neither should thou have stood in the crosshairs to cut off those that did escape. So he would always leave a remnant. And Esau knew that. So he killed the remnant too, the remaining grapes. Like he said, if it was just somebody that was hungry or a thief, he would have just got what he needed and left. But this person, the thieves right here, wanted more. They didn't want nobody remaining because they wanted the land. So they killed the remnant, the remaining grapes. So when you look at that parable, the vineyard is the men of Israel is the grapes. So he says he planted a vineyard when he got him out of Egypt. He brought him to Canaan and planted a vineyard. And then it started out on a fruitful hill. That's Mount Zion. And then, he got good grapes. Then all of a sudden, he looked at it and it had wild grapes. That's because they turned from him. They started going their own way, and they wasn't righteous no more. These wild grapes. Okay.
Yes, sir. And if we look at that, we look at Israel trying to kill out Gaza and try to take their land. So
Right.
they're doing the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Right. The same people. Edomites. Esau.
Yes, sir.
So we're gonna read that whole chapter. We're gonna just stop right there.
Oh, no, sir. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to stop right there. I'll continue. Okay. Verse 8. Woe unto them that join house to house, that lay field to field, till there be no place that they may be placed alone in the midst of the earth. In my ears saith the Lord of hosts, of a truth, many houses shall be desolate, even great and fair, without inhabitant. Yea, 10 acres of vineyard shall yield one bath, and the seed of a homer shall yield a imp. And I'll ask you to explain that one unless you want to explain it right now. As far as the imp, I don't know what that means. EPHAH.
That's in
Number
where is
11.
it?
Yes, sir. That's in verse 10 in chapter 5, verse 10.
Okay, baths and see the omer you talking about? Oh,
No,
that's
the
that's
imp.
that's a
Yeah,
measurement. That's a
that's a
measurement for
measure and an imp.
that's a
Okay.
measurement for wheat and barley.
Oh, okay. Almost.
If you go to the story when they was the manna that came from heaven,
Yes, sir.
he told him to get a omer of the manna and a ephod of so that's a measurement according to uh wheat and barley and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Verse 11. Woe unto them that rise up early in the morning, that they may follow strong drink, that continue unto night till wine inflame them. And the harp and the viol, the tabret and pipe and wine are in their feasts, but they regard not the work of the Lord, neither consider the operation of his hands. Therefore my people are gone into captivity, because they have no knowledge, and their honorable men are famished, and their multitude dried up with thirst. Therefore hell hath enlarged herself, and opened her mouth without measure, and their glory and their multitude and their pomp, and he that rejoiceth shall descend into it. Verse 15, and the mean man shall be brought down, and the mighty man shall be humbled, and the eyes of the lofty shall be humbled. But the Lord of hosts shall be exalted in judgment, and God that is holy shall be sanctified in righteousness. Verse 17, then shall the lambs feed after their manner, and the waste places of the fat ones shall strangers eat. Woe unto them that draw iniquity with cords of vanity, and sin as there was a cart rope, that say, let him make speed and hasten his work, that he may see it, and let the counsel of the Holy One of Israel draw nigh and come, that we may know it. Woe unto them that call evil good, and good evil, that put darkness for light, and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet, and sweet for bitter. Woe unto them that are wise in their own eyes, and prudent in their own sight. Woe unto them that are mighty to drink wine, and men of strength to mingle strong drink, which justifies the wicked for reward, and take away the righteousness of the righteous from him. Verse 24, therefore as the fire devoureth the stubble, and the flame consumeth the chaff, so their root shall be as rottenness, and their blossom shall go up as dust, because they have cast away the law of the Lord of hosts, and despised the word of the Holy One of Israel. Therefore is the anger of the Lord kindled against his people, and he hath stretched forth his hand against them, and hath smitten them, and the hills did tremble, and their carcasses were torn in the midst of the streets. For all his anger is not turned away, but his hand is stretched out still. And he will lift up an ensign to the nations from far, and will hiss unto them from the end of the earth. And behold, they shall come with speedy swiftly. None shall be weary, nor stumble among them. None shall slumber nor sleep, neither shall the girdle of their loins be loosened, nor the latchet of their shoes be broken. Whose arrows are sharp, and all their bows bent. Their horses' hoofs shall be counted like flint, and their wheels like a whirlwind. Their roaring shall be like a lion, they shall roar like young lions. Yea, they shall roar and lay hold of the prey, and shall carry it away safe, and none shall deliver it. And in that day they shall roar against them like the roaring of the sea. And if one look unto the land, behold, darkness and sorrow, and the lights is darkened in the heavens thereof. That's Isaiah 5, 1 through 29.
Right. So like I was saying before, Isaiah is talking to Israel's, and he's referring to Chaldeans the same way that Jeremiah is doing. Both of them is talking about Nebuchadnezzar coming, because Israel is in sin. Isaiah just started it off, but it really came to a head when Jeremiah came. Jeremiah, the one was on the scene right before the Nebuchadnezzar came, but Hosea is talking about the same thing. If you go to, okay, I'm trying to remember where it was we was reading it. I think it was, Friday night, last night for the class where Hosea was talking about. Hosea allowed the Chaldeans to come to Jerusalem, and he showed them all this gold and silver and all that. Then later on, the Chaldeans came back because he showed them everything. They saw the wealth. They saw the wealth that he had. So they came back and stripped the temple. Okay, so like I said, Isaiah and Jeremiah is talking about the Babylonian captivity, about the people from the north is coming to the land of Israel because of Israel, the men of Judah and the men of Jerusalem is in sin. They turned away from the Redeemer. So that's what Isaiah is talking about, and that's what Jeremiah is talking about. Okay. So we'll read one more chapter 6, and then we'll close out for the night. Okay, nobody want to read it? I'll read it. Chapter 6. In the year that King Uzziah died, I saw also the Lord sitting on the throne, high and lifted up, and his train filled with the temple. Above it stood the seraphim. Each one had 6 wings. With twine, he covered his face, and with twine, he covered his feet, and with twine, he did fly. And one cried unto another and said, Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. The whole earth is full of his glory. And the posts of the door moved at the voice of him that cried, and the house was filled with smoke. Then said I, Woe is me, for I am undone, because I am a man of unclean lips, and I dwell in the midst of a people of unclean lips. For mine eyes have seen the King, the Lord of hosts. Then flew one of the seraphim under me, having a live coal in his hand, which he had taken with the thongs from off the altar. And he said, and he laid it upon my mouth, and said, Lo, this have touched thy lips, and thy iniquity is taken away, and thy sin purged. And also I heard the voice of the Lord saying, Whom shall I send, and who will go for us? Then said I, Here I am, send me. And he said, Go and tell this people, Hear ye indeed, but understand not, and see ye indeed, but perceive not. Make the heart of this people fat, and make their ears heavy, and shut their eyes, lest they see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and understand with their heart, and convert, and be healed. Then said I, Lord, how long? He answered, Until the cities be wasted without inhabitants, and the houses without man, and the land is utterly desolate. And the Lord have removed man far away, and there'll be a great forsakening in the midst of the land. But yet it shall be a tent, and it shall return, and shall be eaten as a teil tree, and as an oak tree, whose substance is in them. And when they cast their leaves, so the holy seed shall be the substance thereof. Okay, so that was chapter 6. So what we see right here is this is the Lord of hosts, and he got some of the angels with him, Gabriel and Michael. And you notice in verse 2 it says, Above it stood the seraphim. Each one had 6 wings. With twine he covered his face, and with twine he covered his feet, and with twine he did fly. You see that in Ezekiel chapter 1. The 4 angels that came, they had 6 wings. And one cried unto another and said, Holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. The whole earth is full of his glory. And the posts of the door moved with the voice of him that cried, and the house was filled with smoke. Then I said, Woe is me, for I am undone, because I am a man of unclean lips, and I dwell in the midst of a people of unclean lips. For mine eyes have seen the King, the Lord of hosts. Okay, so let me get that. Verse 7 says, and he said, laid upon my mouth. Notice right here, they got a way to deal with sin. Nobody has to die on the cross. He says, laid upon my mouth, and said, Lo, this have touched thy lips, and then thine iniquity. Sin is taken away, and that sin is purged. So right here, you got angels that get a cold, and he can do away with your sin. So why would he have some man that's gonna come die on the cross when his angel laid coal on his lips, and his sin was done, his sin was gone, when his iniquity was taken away, sin was purged. And then it says, also I heard, verse 8, also I heard the voice of the Lord saying, Whom shall I send, and who will go for us? So let's tell you right there, that's another one of those verses where 7 is they there. He said, Who gonna go for us? Who is the us? Genesis chapter 1, verse 26. Let us go down and make man in our image. It's not no same in chapter 10 when he said, let us, in chapter 11, at the Tower of Babel. Let us go down and see what they're doing, what men is doing, the imagination of his mind. So it's no far from the Son of the Holy Ghost. We see 7 angels, and we see them right here again in operation. And then when we get to the Lord of hosts, it says, also I heard the voice of the Lord saying, Lord of hosts, whom shall I send? And who will go for us? Talking to the other angels. Then said I, here I am, Isaiah said, here I am, send me. And he said, go, tell this people, hear ye indeed, but understand not, and see ye indeed, but perceive not. So it's no different than right here with Jeremiah, with Isaiah, than with Jeremiah than today. They understand not, and they see, and they see not, and they perceive not. And then so, like I said this morning, it's above our pay grade. For you to get all fickle and bent out of shape behind it, it's a misnomer. Because I don't have it's above your pay grade. All you're gonna do is what's been given to you and proclaim what you know. But whether it affects somebody or they get it or perceive it, it's beyond your pay grade. Okay. So that was Genesis chapter. That was Isaiah chapter 6. So anybody got anything they want to bring up before we leave? Before we shut out? Any comments?
No,
Okay.
sir.
Everybody good?
Yes, sir. I'm good.
Right. So I'm gonna say shalom, and I think we got that 12 o'clock class tomorrow on Clubhouse. So see you tomorrow or either Tuesday. Shalom.
Shalom, shalom, everyone.